big delegation, and we are honored to have you here in Jeddah. Jeddah Chamber, the fairest chamber in the whole Gulf, and it's, as you know, Jeddah, the economic capital of Saudi Arabia. We have in the chamber 66,000 members registered in the chamber, and service of Jeddah Chamber cover an area around 600 kilometers long in the coast, from Rabiq up to Al-Ghurfa, which the coast is around 600 kilometers long. And we call this area the Silicon Valley of Saudi Arabia. That is have around 15% of the whole population of Saudi Arabia. Have around 2,000 factory in the north of Jeddah, a place called a city called Rabiq, where around 17 petrochemicals complex, which the biggest worldwide as a complex for petrochemicals, science and for research, and have a student from researcher from the whole world. And we have also north of Jeddah, King Abdullah Economic City, which is a new city, will be a new harbor, giving the whole service for the other part of Saudi Arabia up to Emirates, and this area will be transferred most of the goods by containers. And Jeddah, which is the main port of the whole Gulf, Red Sea, and the biggest in whole Saudi Arabia, and it's located in the international way, and one of the biggest in the whole Arab country, which can receive up to 10 million containers yearly. South of Jeddah, there are at least city or small one, but will be a new harbor also, a new airport. So the whole area, there are a lot of booming in business, in infrastructure. The biggest industrial zone in the whole Saudi Arabia. In this area, there are many industrial zones which totally reach about 200 million square meters, which all is giving a lease by government by very low price, 1 riyal, which is equal to around 28 American cent. There are a new rule for foreign investment rule implemented 8 years ago, which give anybody want to invest in Saudi Arabia, which is the best in the whole Gulf. No need a partnership, a local partnership. We need a local sponsor. You can have your own company up to 100%. Only there are duty tax, which is 20% from the whole profit. Why you produce in Jeddah? Why you start business in Jeddah? For many reasons. Of course, allocation, a center of the whole Arab country. You can fly 2-3 hours to most of the Arab capital city. Plus, you can export your goods to most of the Arab country with zero custom duty. Most of the containers go back empty. Even you can export to Europe or USA or any African country with 1/3 of the total cost. We're receiving the container by $2,000. You can export. You can use pay the freight by $700. Lease is very cheap. Labor is not that expensive. Power also is not that expensive. Most of the raw material which is related to petrochemicals or these things, you can have it locally. So there are many strong articles give the local production, priority and successful to start it here. And there are a lot of funds which help the local, for everybody want to start any local manufacturing. There are something called Saudi Development Fund, which give loan to the companies, to industrial company up to 50%, and reach up to 75% in the rural area, which is outside the big city, with zero interest. So this is also a benefit. You can start. We are not looking for, we are looking only for know-how. We're not looking for fund or anything. There are a lot of fund you can have it locally. So there are benefits of somebody from Australia, which far away from the Arab country, can have full industrial here or repackaging or anything, would give allocation in the middle of the Arab country, which have the priority, will receive all this not costly things. As a chamber, we can help and show anybody interest to start anything here, what the opportunities there are in the whole area. We can facilitate for him, help him register the company. Do whatever he would like to think how to start this company. And of course, no any minimum as a capital. So you can even buy $10,000, $20,000 to start a company. But of course, you have to have your work capital. We have many centers in the chamber, and we have the committee. Committees contains all the companies or people interested in the same field. So industrial committee, commercial committee. In each field of the business we have a committee. Plus there are many centers which we believe this is to complete our vision and mission. Like we have the marketing board which promote Jeddah. We have around 6 to 7 different forums. We have one of the famous forum in the whole area called Jeddah Forum, which yearly we have President Vice Minister. This year we receive a letter from Clinton. He will join our Jeddah Forum, which will be in March. So it's in 16, 17, 18, and every year we have participation from all the countries, up to 50 countries. And some country, like last year, we have 2 countries, they done their show or small delegation business, and this is we facilitate also this.
Your Excellency, the group, the delegation are really welcome, and we are very proud here in Jeddah Chamber of Commerce to welcome all of you. And I understand this is the 3rd visit of this delegation to Saudi Arabia or to the area.
GCC.
To GCC. My colleague was asking, he said, who's the member of the Gulf area, the partner, or what is who's your partner from the Gulf in this concept? I think you have partner from the Gulf area and from Australia. And really our role in the Chamber of Commerce really to facilitate all this kind of relation and how we can increase the volume of the business and really I would like to know more about this council and how did you are you success during the 2 years already? We have some visit here and you have some connection. And I understand also some of your company, they have already some offices now in Jeddah. And this is good news for us. And we are the chamber, how we can help you? Okay, what is your expectation from us? So I can. And also I was asking, what is the difference between your role and the Chamber of Commerce in your country? Okay, Her Excellency is asking, and if we can make kind of MOU together. So there are no problem, and we can work, or even without MOU. If we believe there is a goal, and this objective going to help the both parties, Saudis or Australian, we're going to work for that, no problem. Okay, and if what is one of the idea already I discussed it before with any delegation of country Saudi Arabia. You know, in Australia we have big number of Saudis study there. In your country, I don't remember the number. It's still 12,000. It is, mashallah, a good number. I think if we can work together, how we can get benefit from all this, some of those Saudis who study there, to work with if you have Saudi Australian company, it is a good time for us to select from those people there. We can make job fair and give them a chance to participate to their that company in Australia. So when they came to Saudi Arabia, they know the culture, they know how to, the methodology and all the technique of that company. This is one of the opportunities we can think about it. On the other hand, also, it is not only we'd like to get the goods or the product from your country, how we can transfer this technology to our country now. So all the infrastructure really is ready to have such kind of factory. We can make small or medium factory. Okay, we don't want to transfer the factory, the whole factory. At least some. The good thing in this, we can transfer the machinery, the technology. The know-how it's gonna be from your side. Okay, we have the need. At the same time, it also will give a chance to the Saudi to participate in this industrial. Gradually, every year we can put some percentage, okay, until we reach to good percentage to participate the Saudis. We know that a lot of Saudis now looking for a job. This kind of idea, we have to think about it. If we'd like to build a new partnership between Saudi or Australian company. Again, we welcome all of you really, and I hope that at the end of the day we're going to have a successful meeting, and there is also really an add value for yourself and ourselves. And in the same time, it is good to know that we have facilities in Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes no need to send the delegation, we can do it through all via broadcasting, and all our hall is occupied with the technology. We can make kind of meeting together. Okay, you are in there in your country and we are here to save time, to save money. Okay, and also we can make from time to time also meeting with any company you would like to have a meeting with a counterpart in Saudi Arabia. Welcome again and thank you for this opportunity.
The first one also visited the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia along with other countries. Last year the delegation visited Qatar, Oman and UAE. This year our delegation has spent 5 days, this being the 5th day, in the Kingdom in Riyadh, now in Jeddah. Then tomorrow we will have 1 day in Abu Dhabi before the delegation returns back to Australia. In answering part of your question with regard to chambers of commerce in Australia, they tend to be a little bit differently structured and have a different focus to your chamber here, or when we met the Chamber of Commerce in Riyadh. There's a much stronger focus with your chamber on international trade and commerce and investment rather than just internal domestic circumstances. And to a large extent that is the case with Australian chambers. When the Australian Gulf Council was put together, it was specifically with the view to enhancing and nourishing the existing warm relationship that Australia and Australian businesses have with the GCC countries. It was seen that we needed a conduit, if you like, to allow greater opportunities to develop personal relationships between business people in Australia and business people in the Gulf that wanted to enter into commercial transactions together. And so we bring with us on this delegation a range of business interests from the automotive industry in Australia, representing the BTMs, agriculture, property services, more broader services. We have with us a number of representatives from Austrade, the acting CEO of Austrade, which is our organisation in Australia that facilitates trade and investment globally. And then of course our guys that are based here in the Kingdom representing Austrade interests, and also our Deputy Head of Mission from our embassy in Riyadh travelling with us. In my former capacity as Australia's Trade Minister, I was here in this building meeting with some of you probably about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, and we did a similar thing. I came for a bilateral official bilateral visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and brought a business delegation with me. And for the years that I was Australia's Trade Minister, it struck me that it was very, very important that our business people didn't just look for opportunities in other countries through our representation in our embassy or through Austrade. They needed to get on a plane and for example, come to your country, meet prospective business partners here. And so I've had a very keen interest in your country and more broadly the GCC and the way the GCC operates and the way it interacts with Australia. This is a very, very important market for many Australian companies. I mean, if you look at I'll leave these statistics with you. Currently, well, they're probably 2011 figures, I'd say, but the two-way trade between Australia and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is $2.15 billion US. The Australian automotive industry developing cars and exporting into the market here in the GCC, and most importantly into Saudi. And Mr. Connell's very easy here. He's the quality control that right back through the system once that trade was started, and of course it peaked at a very, very high level. And so it is important to us that we continue to encourage and nourish the trade in elaborately transformed manufacturers like passenger motor vehicles, and of course the all-important trade in food products and food commodities, whether it be grains or processed sheep meat or the live sheep trade that from time to time over the last decade or so has generated some interesting discussions between our two countries. And I've been engaged in a few of those, but those discussions tend to bring us closer together. At least it creates an opportunity for a close dialogue, better understanding of two different cultures and the needs for two different cultures. And again, in our meetings in Riyadh, particularly with the Minister for Agriculture, we had that discussion. Interestingly, I sort of both I and myself moved on out of politics and into the private sector, and I reminded the Minister that I met him in my former role as a Minister. He's still a Minister in the same portfolio here in Saudi Arabia, doing a very good job. So he understands the issues very, very well. And it's a very, very valuable ingredient in the relationship, and that is mutual respect. It's a very simple term, but one that says everything about our relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We understand and respect your culture and your requirements in your country. Increasingly, you understand our country, and central to that is that ongoing growth in the number of Saudi students studying in Australia, because as our experience has been over many decades with foreign students studying in Australia, they go back to their home country after graduating. They end up occupying senior positions in business, senior positions in government, and they have had that education abroad, but have also taken on board a unique understanding of the culture of that country, and it certainly helps to strengthen ties between two countries. So we see that as being absolutely and critically important, and to continue to encourage that. And more exchanges between our two countries. Recently, we have, and I know many in this room will be pleased to hear this, have significantly relaxed the visa criteria specifically for Saudis who want to visit Australia, whether it's business or tourist visitors. You can now go online, don't have to go down to the embassy, don't have to talk to these guys in Riyadh. Go online and apply, and within 48 hours you'll have a visa, you can hop on a plane and come to Australia. Now obviously, we have raised this as an issue with the government representatives we met in Riyadh, with all the ministers we met, with the senior officials at Sagia that we met, to encourage and to precipitate more opportunities between our two countries of a commercial nature. We would like to see obviously the regime of issuing visas to Australians, particularly Australian business people, to be made easier like that from the Saudi side. We had a delightful lunch yesterday with the former ambassador from the Kingdom to Australia, He's only returned here just a couple of months ago. And obviously it was an issue that he's well aware of. But it's something that we would like to engage your assistance in the dialogue that you have with government to see if there's a way of providing some better arrangements, as we have done for Saudis coming to Australia, for Australians coming to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I've probably spoken too long because I know that a number of my colleagues want to make comment, but if I could, Mr. Banerjee, I might, rather than me go through and introduce everybody, if we start with, and I'll just get our individual members of the delegation to introduce themselves. And the only other thing I was going to raise in my formal remarks was the request to consider whether between the AGC and the Jeddah Chamber we can establish an MOU, so I've got a good conduit for a flow of information, but Anna's already raised that, so we'll deal with that issue. So if I can start on my far right with Guy.
Good morning, gentlemen. Ladies. Good morning. My name is Guy Rudiger from the Australian Embassy in Riyadh.
Good morning. My name is Ross Hitt. I'm the CEO of SMEC. We're multidisciplinary engineering consultants, working in a number of countries around the world, in fact about 35. We're interested to look at the Saudi market and in particular areas of specialisation that we think may be appropriate, tunnels and underground structures, rail, waste management, water and mining services. We employ over 5,000 people, so we are not the largest in Australia, but we are a substantial company, and as I say, happy to talk to people after the introductions. Thank you.
My name is Laurie Smith. I'm the acting CEO of the Australian Trade Commission. Some of my colleagues here are from the commercial section in the Australian Embassy in Riyadh, and also Mr. Mohammed Kirwani represents the Australian Trade Commission here in Jeddah as well. Our role is to support Australian companies that are already active trading and operating inside the kingdom, but to look for further opportunities and to support companies looking to expand business here. The base of our trade, obviously, in agriculture and automobiles is very strong. We're looking for more opportunities in agricultural technology. With the expansion of the mining sector, mineral mining equipment, technology and services, we see some future potential. Australia has many strong suppliers in that sector. In the services sector generally, education and training. And I could comment that in some countries where there are many students who have returned from Australia, we have assisted with some career promotion activities to try to link returned students with businesses that are looking for students with good international connections and training to help to do a good job in a company, but to build stronger international linkages as well. We'd be very happy to follow up that suggestion there as well. We also have a responsibility to promote two-way investment, but in particular investment from the Kingdom down into Australia in areas of mutual interest, and happy to work with members of the Chamber to support their exploration of that area.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Purves. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Gulf Council, so I'm sorry you can blame me for taking this time out of your day. I'd very much like to thank you for having been raised. We're very keen to put in place an MOU, strategic partnership agreement between the Australian Gulf Council and the Chamber to
re-elevated me to the position of Premier, but I did feel I should correct that. I come from a state in Queensland that is home to the Gold Coast, where a number of people from the Kingdom have increasingly visited as tourists, and I'm very, very pleased to have the chance to be visiting the Kingdom myself. Like Mr. Vale, I have a very strong view that Australia, we're a big country with a small population, and our future and the future for our children lies in our relationship with the world. We're very committed through the Gulf Council to building business and commercial relationships. We also believe that those relationships can only genuinely be built on personal relationships. That role in this community and increasingly in the business sector, and we're keen to be making those relationships as well. I met with the President of the Riyadh Women's Chamber, very keen to understand the role of women in the Jeddah Chamber and to to do what we can to be building links between Australian businesswomen who are increasingly a part of the business world of our country and the role of women in business and commercial activity here in the Kingdom.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Assalamu alaikum. I come in two hats, which you can read in the document that you have in front of you. Your Dr. Mohammed Benton, who runs the Saudi Post, and I'm seeing him this afternoon. But the government role that I play, I'm the chairman of the Council of the Australia-Arab Relations, and part of our objective for the Australian government is twofold. The first one is to support, and then the second one, which is also to support the cultural and the people-to-people links and ensure that in our own home country, the country, as Anna was saying just a minute ago, is a place where Arabs feel comfortable to come and visit and to be invited to come, not only for business purposes but also for social and tourist purposes as well. In the same way, I think the Kingdom has made an enormously positive and much easier for Australians to come here. And Mark mentioned something quite important, which is the best way to do more business is for people to get to know each other and to see each other, and if we can get a visa.
And the relationship between two countries is a relationship between two peoples, actually. The fact that we have 12,000 students, I think it's a plus for this. I think it will promote business between our two countries in the long term. I remember in the first boom in Saudi Arabia, whenever there was a contract, government contract, large one, the Americans used to win over the French. The French took them some time to realize it was the language, and because most of the decision makers were actually have been educated in the United States, it was easy for them to communicate with the Americans and keep the contact with the Americans. So on this regard, as a member of the IRC committee here, I would like to actually thank you for the vote in the United Nations to abstain. I think, believe me, it touches a very sensitive issue on the people's minds here, and we would like to hopefully see Australia play a very honest broker, in this regard. So this is quite well appreciated. Best ambassador we've ever had. He's a personal friend of mine. He's been in Switzerland for 10 years. My Swiss friends were telling me that we tried so hard to convince the Saudi government not to let him go, but they insisted 10 years is more than enough. Nabil Al-Saleh. He is our Consul General in Switzerland. Now he's appointed to Australia, so he should be coming to Saudi Arabia next week, and then from there he will visit you. And he's extremely active, very young, very spiritual, and very sociable, and extremely keen about improving relationships, just like he did with his post in Switzerland. And I also would like to thank you for coming, and I hope that we have more frequent visits, and I hope one day Australia becomes a little bit closer.
Oh, well, as the jets get faster and get closer.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. And certainly, this organisation will be a first stop and a major point of contact for the new ambassador.
I'd like to welcome you to Saudi Arabia and to the city of Jeddah, and I hope you have a comfortable stay here in Jeddah. I'm a member of the Committee of International Trade, and our job is to promote international trade and at the same time meet with delegations to address some of the misconceptions that are there and talk about Saudi perceptions in general, the Saudi culture and Saudi traditions. And again, the dialogue is something that is really very much in focus here in Saudi Arabia. It's in our Bella's initiative, and we support that. And I'm a media person, I'm a journalist by profession, so it is very important for us to promote the interfaith and intercultural dialogue. And I'm very pleased and honored by your interest in that field as well. I also am very proud to be invited to Mr. Famor again. We had a wonderful visit to Australia back in February, I believe.
appreciate what you mentioned about the cultural exchange and mutual respect. I think that's very important. It's important to develop relations on people-to-people level, not just at the business level. And I think such initiatives as the Islamic Museum and these exchange visits are a wonderful opportunity to do that. And I believe there are more opportunities for such growth in the understanding cultures. And I believe the OIC now is preparing for a symposium in Australia early next year. I'm not sure if a date has been set yet, but it will be about Muslim world relations with Australia. It will cover several areas, and we look forward to coming to Australia again. I'm happy that visa issue is easier now. I look forward to coming to Australia and spending more time there.
Thank you.
I attend this meeting especially to find a relationship with someone from Australia, by the way. Actually, we are in the tourism field since 25 years old almost. So we would like to find some partners in Australia to make relation in tourism and with events management. Thank you.
I am Abdul Wahab, a businessman from Saudi Arabia. My family, the first family bring sheep from Australia. No. But now, after high price,
Good call. I him.
it's lower again. Big problem for market for this price. No, frozen. I work now for frozen and fresh cheap. Not live.
Not live.
Before live. Before live.
Frozen and
عشان السعر He was working in the life before.
Yeah.
My family.
But now because of the price goes up, he changed to the frozen.
Still from Australia?
Yeah.
Uh, 4 months ago, we inaugurated with Mr. Suleiman Al-Jabri, the fairest livestock ship. I think it's hold around 70,000. Yes, me and Adnan is inaugurating. They built a special
celebration in the port.
in the port. Yes, one specialized because the Australian was strict to keep their sheep, and they wanted something more humility because I mean the hive, the ceiling, and this one before is not allowed. I don't know. They put new regulation and condition, and I think they built a new ship especially for the Australian livestock.
First class?
Yeah.
Commerce. It's a lobbying center for women's empowerment. So we work a lot on reforming policies, procedures, and legislation with the government, using research that we do locally, sometimes internationally with the UN or World Bank, to identify the problems and the things that needs to be changed, and any treaty signed by the government that would support that. We then put the solutions and start discussing it with lobbying for it with the government officials to bring change into women's issues. So I know you had some concerns, so if you have any questions, we can discuss it.
I was delayed by another meeting. I could not finish. I don't have time. It's only, I think, 15 minutes. I just want to welcome you all here. I tried to get to know as much as possible about all of you, but we did not get a chance. I'm sure Mazen did an okay job. I trust him enough to, but I think everybody, I'm the vice chairman as well with Mazen for the Chamber of Commerce, and we work together. Even though I am a lady, but we struggle a bit, but I think...
We're struggling.
See, we have gender equality now, they both struggle. But no, the chamber here is very supportive of what we do, and the challenges are many, but things that we do and we participate in are equal gender issue in the chamber, in the Jeddah chamber, is not really something that you see, but of course the gender issue is a sensitive issue everywhere else. There are very positive changes, but it's a struggle. But it's happening, and we're always positive, and we're always optimistic that things can only get better. So I welcome you again to this chamber. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Doctor, I have one question for you.
Yes.
Why are you called the Iron Lady?
I don't know. It wasn't. This is not my name. This is supposed to be Mama
In the chamber, all
name.
the ladies.
And,
You know, this is the second. We have the
elections.
that's election. We have two, and the
Yeah.
minister appointed another two. They are, I mean, newly here, so they give for each lady a nickname. Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't. It was.
There are one
The
little
first.
bit old, so they call it auntie. But she is true.
This is not.
Even myself, I am a little bit
Malish,
afraid of it.
I can explain it myself. I see the gender issue first. I think.
I'm enjoying watching this.
You join us every day.
Two people sign. You have the senior people standing behind watching.
That's great.
These days,
I was part of the proud big prize. So no,
Bakri.
Is that right? Our house, my the one of the board. Thank you very much.